Welcome to Coffee with Democrats, a sensible platform for progressive conversations. Coffee with Democrats is a grassroots movement dedicated to hearing from Democrats, candidates, legislators, and friends from all political backgrounds who want great conversations. Coffee with Democrats is committed to increase Democrat voter registration and Democrat voter turnout by making voting more exciting and meaningful. And now here's your host of Coffee with Democrats, Kevin Dawson.
And good morning and welcome to Coffee Break. I can't even talk this morning. Coffee Break on Coffee with Democrats. That's a lot of coffee in one sentence right there.
Yeah.
But I've got a special friend, a special guest, Senator Mary Boren. She's been the senator. Oh shoot, I forgot what district you were with.
16.
16. And
Sweet 16.
Boy, we've been kind of floating around here for a little while. I'm in Senate District 15, helping with Elizabeth Foreman's campaign, trying to get things going on her side. But man, it's so nice to be able to have a friend that's in the Senate that you can call on to help things. And today, the special conversation that we're going to talk about today is the last day of voter registration in the state of Oklahoma. So that's going to be the topic that we chose to talk about this morning. And so good morning and welcome to Coffee Break on Coffee with Democrats. Mary, it's great to see you again.
It's good to see you. I'm excited to remind everybody about voting. Today's the last day to get registered to vote. And it ends at 5 o'clock tonight. So if anybody's going to drop off anything, it has to be postmarked today. It has to be... No, it doesn't even have to be postmarked. It actually has to be delivered, I think.
Right.
They arrive. Yeah. Postmark doesn't even count. So you have to go actually deliver them to the county election board by 5 o'clock today. Now, online voting or online registration, I guess they have some kind of file stamp on their end of when it works, for that. So. Right.
I've got a couple of banners that I can put up here to help people understand where they can go do this. You can do it online. Excuse me, got a little frog in my throat this morning. Sorry about that. But we got a couple of ways to do this. All of these links that we're going to post up here, I've got 2 of them. All of them take us back to the Oklahoma election portal. And it's a very simple process. When you get there, you just put in your first name, your last name, your birthday. And then when it pops up, if your name is already there and you got your precinct and everything is listed there, that means you're registered. But if it doesn't give you that and it asks you to start filling out information, you can fill it out online. And you have some information about how to do that I thought would be helpful for people to understand.
So to register online, you need 2 sources of identification. You need to be able to input your last 4 digits of your social security number, right, and your state ID number. Now, what is a state ID number? For most of us, it's your driver's license, your Oklahoma driver's license number.
Right.
Now, or it can be a state ID number. Those are the 2 numbers that the online registration recognizes. You can also use other forms of ID to register to vote. That's not a state ID, not a state driver's license or a state ID. For example, I think that if you're able to just use your social security, you can
right.
also just use if you live, a lot of times people in the military, they change their residence as far as where they're living so they can vote. They'll vote maybe in Oklahoma, but then they may have a driver's license from Arizona while they're transitioning. So you can change your residence quicker than sometimes you can change your driver's license.
Sure.
So if your residence has changed and you haven't had a chance to change your driver's license yet, then you, on the paper form, not the online form, you can use that form of ID on the paper form. So if we may have a lot of students that their residency is now Oklahoma and they have a driver's license from another state. In those cases, you're going to have to use a paper form, and those will have to be delivered by 5 o'clock today at the county election board near your home, wherever your precinct is.
So
So,
for us, we live in Cleveland County. We can go out to the Cleveland County Fairgrounds. On the very southeast side of the fairgrounds is the election office.
yeah,
If you're in Oklahoma County or Oklahoma City, you're going to go downtown to the Oklahoma election office. Actually, it's not downtown. It's actually north of the Capitol on Lincoln,
yeah,
and it's back in like a shopping. It looks kind of like a shopping center, but it's a big monolith that's back there.
yeah.
And
For most Oklahomans in the rural areas, most often your county election board is very close to your county courthouse.
sure,
Uh, so, and that's something that's easy to Google. Is you can just say, hey Siri or Google, where is the county election board for my county? If you don't know what county you live in, then Google can help you with that, or Siri can help you with that as well. Always remember to use the word Oklahoma when you're doing those searches,
right,
because North Carolina actually has a Cleveland County. And
yes,
there's been some times that I haven't been very careful and I accidentally end up in the Cleveland County, North Carolina world instead of the Cleveland County, Oklahoma world.
right.
So when you're Googling that, then just be aware. But today is the deadline for all paper voter registration forms to be in at the county election board by 5 o'clock.
And we've got
If you're close to the state capitol and let's say you're not from Oklahoma County, you can drop it off at the state election board as well.
oh good.
But basically it has to be dropped off today by 5 o'clock. Now on the online, it can be submitted prior to that. But like I said, you'll need an Oklahoma ID and the last 4 digits of your social security number.
And I've got one more link that I'm going to throw up here. Both of these, I throw them up there because they're so easy to remember. And again, we always talk about these all take us back to the Oklahoma Election Board website anyway. But instead of having to try to look up what the Oklahoma Election Board website is, if you just remember vote.gov, it'll ask you what state you want to go to, and it'll take you right to the portal. The election portal here in Oklahoma. Same way with the other one that I had up there, iwillvote.com. It'll ask you for what state you're going to, and again, it'll take you right directly to a portal. So these are a couple of helpful links to help people get in and get started. I know that we just went through a big purge last week where there was, I think, 421,000 people who were purged over a 4-year period from 2020 through 2024. The governor was very proud that, that he was purging these, and about 70% of all of those people that were purged were Democrats.
Yeah, it's one of the things they say that they used as the criteria was failure to vote regularly,
Right,
and which is kind of disappointing because a lot of times Democrats now don't have anybody to vote for in a lot of elections, and so if they just miss, if they would have missed the presidential election in 2020, of course, COVID, probably had a lot to do with that,
right,
and they didn't vote for the governor, which it was incumbent governor that Democrats wasn't particularly happy about.
right,
And then some, were a little bit concerned about the Democrat switching from Republican to Democrat.
sure,
So there could have been some enthusiasm problems with the gubernatorial race, but
right,
those two combined things would result in somebody getting purged. Now in Norman and Cleveland County, there's a lot of things to vote on that aren't
true,
governors and presidents, and so it's likely that people might have voted for a school bond issue,
right,
or could have voted for a school board member or city council election, or all kinds of other referendums, things that we've had in Norman especially. So all of those voting opportunities would have kept somebody from being purged. But way far out in the further parts of Oklahoma, there's not that much action on a monthly or quarterly basis. So a lot of those folks are probably impacted by lack of enthusiasm for the who's on the ballot.
So let's talk about enthusiasm. We've got a very exciting opportunity this year, and I've been coming down since the 1st of September. I will say this: it was through the encouragement of a certain Senator Mary Boren, who said, "Kevin, you need to do this every day." That I started coming down to the election board, and I do this podcast from the Cleveland County Election Board office every day at 10 o'clock. We've had a wonderful time doing that, but my witnessing, I am witnessing every day. The reason why I was late getting started, before we even opened the store up at 10 o'clock, or the office up at 10 o'clock, people are lined up outside wanting to get in because they want to get a yard sign, they want to get buttons, they want to get merchandise. They're really excited this year. I were together and showed the excitement of that we were. I guess we were kind of being those people that were excited when we got to witness Kamala. We got to witness President Biden in his conversation, and then the follow-up that same day with Kamala coming out and greeting them. And that was such a wonderful, wonderful convention that we held up in Chicago. And that excitement is just boiling over, and people are just coming to this office. We have sold in this office 2,500 yard signs.
That's awesome.
That is more than, that's an all-time record. There has never been in Cleveland County that many signs ever distributed for any president, any time in history.
That's
so
amazing.
that gives you kind of that kind of gives you goosebumps, because you're like, wow, we have got somebody that is really pulling that kind of excitement. And so the donations that we're getting are just incredible, because we're getting so many great people that are donating. And they're, if they only want to donate a cup of coffee, or what the equivalent of what would be a cup of coffee, $4 or $5, they're doing that. If they can give more than that, they give more. And we're getting some donations that are in the hundreds of dollars just for a yard sign, because people are, again, they're so excited about being a Democrat this year.
Well, and that's the thing, is that you want to leverage that excitement of the historical impact of having a woman rise to this opportunity.
Sure.
To our nation. And so I do think Americans are still, and even Oklahomans, see the novelty and the historical impact of that.
Yeah.
Plus the moment in time that we face to save our democracy, and the amount of Republicans out there throughout the United States, former members of Trump's staff and his cabinet have endorsed her. So and the neatest thing is that we've learned better how to leverage that excitement to help the down ballot candidates and to help our office stay open. Yesterday, I was on the phone with 2 people that called me about, they moved into Oklahoma, they're retired, they're very concerned about Ryan Walters, and they wanted to know, what can we do? And I said, well, we have a lot of lawsuits filed. And they said, no, but what can we do? And I said, well, and they wanted to know about the Democratic Party. And I was able to share with them that, our party is manned, especially Cleveland County. It's got a person there during the weekdays from 10. You pretty much expect somebody anywhere between 10 to 3 o'clock. And then by appointment on the weekends, if you can meet somebody there. Right. But those resources keep that facility open. And one thing that Cleveland County did that was really good is they have monthly donors that pay the rent on that facility. Yeah. And so it is important to have a shop where people can come in, they know where to go, they can get their merchandise, they can get connected with other people that are really eager to work. And so that's the neatest thing about those signs, is that those signs are not just a sign. The sign is helping down ballot races and connecting people with each other to know how that they can preserve democracy in our state.
Right. So you and I have helped with a couple of campaigns. Sam Grafey is one that we've helped on. We helped introduce the gentleman from Muskogee on this show here a couple of months ago. Forgive me, I'm drawing a blank on his name. But we also did some stuff here recently. I'm excited about two of them that I just recently went to, and that is Jacob Mitchell Jacob, and again Elizabeth Foreman. I'm excited about those. But you know what? Being a Cleveland County resident, I'm totally excited about Annie Mintz being reelected. I'm totally excited about Jacob Rosecrans being reelected again. And then you just go right up I-35. There's a whole great big group of people in the Oklahoma City area. We have such great opportunity this year to build our network within the Senate and within the House of Representatives. You know, we're never going to be, I say, let me rephrase that. It's going to take a long time for us to get the leadership roles back. But to gain ground in Oklahoma, that's just such a wonderful, wonderful thing. And we have that opportunity to gain some ground and start bringing ourselves to a position where the Republicans have to actually start listening and dealing with us.
Right. And so this election is really preparation for our next gubernatorial election.
Yeah, in 2026.
Between now and that election, if we could register 187,000 voters, we would win the governor's seat. That's all it would take. And that's about 40 new voters a precinct in Oklahoma County. And it's about, I don't know how many, it's probably right around the same amount in Cleveland County. So every time there's an election, it's an opportunity to register new voters.
Right.
I can't remember, I think it was Jeffries who came and was talking to Democrats and said that every election you need to add 10 to 15% new voters in that election. So whatever territory, like Senate District 15, we needed to register 10 to 15 new new voters in the district of Senate District 15. So voter registration is just as important. I think it's more important than persuasion or getting people to cross party lines or trying to even turn out a vote of reluctant voters. I think if we focus like we should on making sure that we're adding new voters, we will see a tremendous difference in the elections in our state in just 2 years.
Right. And that's, I think my immediate goal in my lifetime is to bring parity back within Oklahoma, to try to bring us back to the point where if we had a 50-50 House, 50-50 Senate, it'd be a toss-up with the governor. We could do more stuff for the people of Oklahoma by holding each other accountable and then working together. That's the goal that I have, because there's been so much division in this whole idea that because we're in the supermajority, we can force ideology onto other people.
Well, what's sad about is that supermajority, they're not even able to police. Oh, even the supermajority doesn't necessarily even want that, forcing that on to everybody else. It's just they don't have they were put in a difficult political situation where they can't hold their own members accountable to more moderate positions.
Sure.
That is exactly the role of the minority party, to make the other side more moderate and less extremist. But a supermajority keeps the minority party from being able to hold the majority party accountable. And so by having that parity, it gives the minority party a little bit of the checks and balances role and holding people accountable. And we hear all the time Republicans talking about bad apple. Oh, that's a bad apple. It's not a systemic problem. Not everybody is like that. It's just a bad apple. But then when you go and you look, it's like, well, what's y'all's plan for getting the bad apples out of your barrel? There's not a plan. They don't have a way. That's our job. That's what we can do. And that's what they do to us. If we have a bad apple in our barrel, and then they're right there to, point it out. I will say, though, that Democrats are a lot more quick to recognize and take care of situations and leadership problems that need to be dealt with. I think Al Franken is a good example of that when he was a senator. he resigned and they got somebody else to replace him.
Right.
So, and that was that was not a good thing that happened. But on the scale of things that we see happening in Oklahoma that the Republicans tolerate is just really upsetting. So parity is necessary for accountability. It's not just to keep them from being radical, but it's
Yeah.
also to hold them accountable for making sure that government works for people.
Right, right. Well, folks, we've had a wonderful conversation with a great friend and an outstanding ambassador for the state of Oklahoma, Senator Mary Boren. Mary, thank you for coming on Coffee Break with Coffee with Democrats, and thanks again for all of our listeners who come on and support us along the way all the time, and we really appreciate that. So,
thank you. It's good talking to you. Keep up the good work.
I will. And again, thank you. And you keep up all the great work too, because you're just so outstanding. I can't say enough kind things. So
very nice. Thank you so much.
Everyone, until the next time, please be safe.